when I posted my first kind of my breakout video, the inspiration of Kalinja, uh, there was a short clip in there, I mean, of me tuning on my wife's bicycle, on Susie's bicycle, and Tony Robbins, you asked a question about these shifters. You know, these are some things that I just take for granted. I think that everybody knows about this stuff. And I forget that not everybody does the same things. And so, you know, if you're interested here, I'm going to give you just a little brief overview of how this works. Now, believe me, I'm not a bicycle designer. I'm not a bike mechanic, but I know how to use the shifters on this. And on this bike, this is my Trek Domani, and there are two sets of shifters. There's the, on the right side, we have the shifter. It's a combination shifter and brake handle. When you pull back like a conventional brake handle, it actually moves the rear brake calipers in and stops you. Right side is the same way. Got conventional brake control on the right side, okay? But built into this also are two levers. There's this front lever, the long-handled one, and then there's this little black one that sits right behind it, and it sort of has a little contour in it so that when you're riding your bike in this position, you can just with a single flick of a finger, you can change gears, or you can come out here and grab your handle and push it in. Now, the only direction you push these handles is toward the center of the bike. So one handle is, on this particular right-hand side anyway, is for shifting up to higher gears. As you push in on this, the rear cog shifts, and I'll show some images of that while the bike is spinning. This longer handle is used to shift down, shift into lower gears. So like when you go into mountain climbing or something like that, hill climbing, you want to get into the lowest gear you can, and so you use this to shift all the way down. Now I'm going to show that to you in a second here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and shift or get this wheel going, and you'll notice now as I push the black handle in, the black lever in, every time I shift into a higher gear. And I hope you can see that working okay. Okay? Now when I use the long handle, I can shift into lower gears. And this is all done through the right handle, which controls the rear cassette. And this is the rear cassette. Okay? I won't go into any more detail than that. Let me show you what's going on the left lever. Okay, so now on the left handlebar, we have the front derailleur shifter. And it's just like the right one. There are two levers. The black lever shifts the chain in one direction. Okay? The long lever here, the front lever, shifts the chain in the opposite direction. And again, I have braking when I pull the levers this way. Okay? So when I'm trying to climb up a hill, or if I'm just getting started on my bike, and I encounter some road resistance, say I'm going to go up a slight hill, I'll want to be in the smallest chain ring in the front. And so I use this black handle. This black handle shifts me into the smaller chain rings in the front, which gives me more power to climb hills. Now on the flip side, when I'm on a flat stretch, or if I'm coming down a hill and I really want to get some speed, I use my silver lever here to put my chain on the larger ring. That gives me a whole lot more speed, not as much power. I'm going to show you some footage of that here. Okay, I'm going to start pedaling the bicycle. And as you can see right now, my chain is in the outermost ring. I'm looking down on top of the derailleur, okay, so that's my bottom bracket down there. This is the top of the chain. This is the front derailleur, okay? And then my pedals are here. So as I start to pedal, I'm going to use the black shifter. I'm going to click it, and you'll see that the chain derails and goes down into the smaller ring. And that gives me a little bit more power to go up hills. when I use the long lever, the chain will derail from the small ring and land up on the large ring, giving me less power, more speed for the flat stretches of road. Okay. There's also a mechanism on here to compensate for cable stretch. And so what will happen is when you put a new cable on the shifter, when it's new, everything will shift fine once it's all adjusted. But over time, the cable will stretch. This little knurled knob here allows you to adjust the sheath around the cable to either lengthen the cable or shorten the cable. And that allows you to keep your shifting smooth even after your cable stretches a little bit. That's available on the left side as well, right here. Okay, so that's it. I think that's everything. I'm going to keep that nice and short. That, my brother Tony, that is for you, only because you asked. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm just sharing what little bit I know, but I'd like to share. So I'm going to get back. I've got some other things going on today. I've got to fix a chain. Oh, sorry, I wasn't paying attention to where you guys were there. I've got to repair a chainsaw. We took out a big fallen limb today at the Schoolhouse Winery. The Schoolhouse Winery is just out over the hill over there. That's the place where Susie and I actually got engaged and got married. So the guy that owns it called my stepson, or my stepson offered anyway, to buck up a branch that had fallen and clean up the mess out there, because they're going to have Saturday night's a big deal for them. They always have a live band, and if the weather's nice, they meet outside, and it's a cool time. It's a lot of fun. A lot of good people hang out there. Anyway, so when we got out there, we found that this was a humongous branch that had come out of this tree. I mean, the branch was the size of a tree itself. I've got some clips of it. I'll maybe insert those here. But anyway, so we did that today. I had a friend's saw. He has an Echo. I forget which model it is. It's, let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, it's sitting over here on the bench. So this is it. That's the 590 is what it is, Echo 590. And what I found out was happening is the chain wasn't oiled. It was getting really dry and hot on me. It was starting to smoke, and so we had to keep pumping oil on it by hand while we were bucking that thing up, and it wasn't fun. So I'm going to tear into that. I don't know anything about chainsaws either, really. I mean, I just, all my life I've taken things apart, all my life. When I was younger, my grandmother, I grew up with my grandmother. I think I might have mentioned something like that in the past, but my grandmother used to get really ticked with me because I would take things apart to find out how they worked, and I was never good at putting them back together back in those days, but I've gotten a lot better at that now. And I don't have to really know or understand, I shouldn't say that, I don't really have to be trained sorry about the light, I don't really have to be trained to know how to take things apart, put them back together, and even fix them. It's kind of a gift, if you know what I'm saying. I was born with those genes, and so I'm gonna dive into this and see what I can find. Now, you know, the only thing that happens to me when I'm digging into stuff like this is a lack of parts. I mean, I don't have parts laying around, so I'll dig into this. I'll find out if there's a broken part, a bad part, worn part, whatever. And over the hill toward the winery, there's Owens Implements, and that's where I bought my little Echo from, and they'll have the parts. So I'm going to tear into that. I'll put some footage of that in there too. So I don't want this to be a real long video. I'm really babbling here, but it's good to talk to people. I wish I could hear some things you're saying or you're wanting to say, but I look forward to your comments. You guys leave great comments. You're a great bunch of people. So be kind, be patient. This is a work in progress here, and I love you guys. I really do. I love getting to know new people, and I don't know who you are totally, but you're part of the same community that I'm a part of, and that's an awesome thing. All right, time out. wait, say it again. I didn't have your face. And so, all right, we got the bulk of it off the sidewalk over there and everything leading up to the building removed. It's teeter-tottering right there, that small diameter end and the large diameter end. I'm going to leave it there for a little bit because we have a chainsaw malfunction. That chainsaw is not oiling, and got to figure out what's going on with that before we can take on the rest of it. That bar is almost too short for this, but we're doing it, making it happen. This is the winery where Susie and I got married. We got engaged and married right over there. I proposed to her on that swing. The wedding was out there. It was a beautiful setting. This is our favorite winery. It's about, a mile and a half from our house. It's a pretty nice place. Live music here every Saturday night, so they're getting ready to gear up for music tonight. If it doesn't rain, we're gonna have music right out here on the stage. This is the Schoolhouse Winery. It used to be an old schoolhouse back in the, I want to say back in the 1800s. Dave and Jen bought it up and flipped it into a winery. They're doing a good job. Yeah. And that's my stepson, Zach. He works here, and he's one that offered to come out and cut this tree, or this big old branch. Now, it came out of this tree right here. See that? And you can see right over the top of the band shelter, there's the stem cracked off of right there.